we're looking at inflation. We're looking at rising interest rates.
Cooling off period proposed, or maybe more than proposed by the provincial government.
It needs to be a free market where they are able to buy what they want with a price that they want. Hey, it's Alex Yao with Remax Select Properties.
And Chris Cornborough with Forefront Mortgages.
And this is your year-end market update for December 2021.
Alex, what happened in the last little bit here?
We're still really busy. Market's still really busy, mostly because of the low supply. As you probably know, we're at a record low in supply. And because of that, the demand's outweighing the supply by quite a bit. And because of that, the market has been still ticking upwards in regards to prices.
Interesting.
What's really interesting is downtown. I mean, everywhere else, Vancouver East, Vancouver West, condos, townhomes, houses, everything has been selling less compared to previous months. But that's also because there's less listings, right? But downtown, we were talking about downtown since the summertime, and that was always a key to see when the economy might start coming back. Downtown inventory last month went down 14%, but solds actually went up 39%. So it's ticking up quite a bit.
To the layman's.
Okay.
Explain in terms of pricing. How does that factor in here?
So pricing is being pushed up. Supply is obviously lower supply, but more people are buying downtown than ever before.
I understand.
And I think they definitely reached a low already, and now they're starting to pick back up, and people are getting used to
the new downtown. Yeah,
the new downtown, or kind of the old downtown. They're expecting things to bounce back.
Gotcha.
And so that's definitely interesting to see.
Yeah.
Now, in regards to next year, though, what do you think?
It's hard to say. I think you're right. Supply is like a huge issue. Is there a lot of new stuff being built downtown? Like, I can think of some of the towers in kind of the Cole Harbour, like the luxury towers. But for the kind of the regular priced towers, nothing too fancy, there doesn't seem to be a lot of new projects as far as I can tell. But then people are moving downtown. We have the Canada Post building, which I think is going to be an Amazon or Microsoft campus. So there's probably a draw for people coming downtown. I live downtown. It's kind of it's changed. It's definitely got a little grittier, I would say, but it's Vancouver, so it's not that terrible of a place. Maybe it does kind of get its luster back once things go back to normal. I think COVID obviously was pretty difficult for the downtown business community, like downtown retail. There's a lot of boarded up shops still down there. That draw isn't there, but hard to say.
Now, in regards to, we're looking at inflation, we're looking at rising interest rates. So all that has something to play with downtown as well. Well, and not just downtown, everywhere. Well, lumber prices are already at a record high, and all the materials would start going up even more with inflation.
That's right.
Inflation is essentially deflating your cash value. And so you need more cash to buy what you can buy today.
Absolutely. People that own real estate right now, real estate's a great hedge against inflation. So if you own property, maybe you're less inclined to sell it because, you got to go buy something else, which is then more expensive if you have a mortgage, et cetera, et cetera. So there's all sorts of factors that will come into play for pricing.
And it's much less volatile than the stock market too.
Absolutely. At least you can live in something. Live in your property if your Bitcoin crashes. So the next thing I ask you about, which I think is timely because I might be announced today, is the cooling off period proposed, or maybe more than proposed, by the provincial government.
Yeah, I think they're looking at legislating it in 2022. The originating factor was that the government has been hearing the buyers in regards to the difficulty in buying and having to jump onto things, as we've been seeing a lot of multiple offer situations. I fully understand that. Personally, I don't really agree with the Band-Aid effect that the government tends to jump on, and I think this is one of them. I think the major issue is the lack of supply and the slower pace of getting permits, or passing plans through City Hall. That whole process needs to be a lot more efficient. I think that's the main issue that we're having here. If you don't fix the supply, all you do is manipulate manipulate is a strong word, but manipulate the demand, I think you're fixing one half of the problem.
So you have a cooling off period, which means that I give somebody an offer to buy their house, and they have to legally give me like a week or whatever, 10 days to kind of firm up my decision. Is that it? And I can withdraw that contract during that rescission period?
So I think what the government is looking at is a period that's shorter than a week. A week is typically what we call a rescission period in regards to pre-sales. So in regards to a resale, I think there's going to be a shorter time frame. As of this recording, we don't know exactly the timeline yet. It's going to hurt the sellers in the short run. It's going to hurt the buyers even more in the long run.
Well, if you have 10 people that go to an open house and they all want to make offers, so it's kind of the first person or party that does that. They've got this 2 or 3 day period. The next people are still waiting. The next people are 6 or 9 days behind them. So all it does is just drag it out. The inevitable conclusion is it's still going to go for a high price.
Chances are. But probably even higher, because now we have, instead of 10 people making sincere offers, we have 20 people, 10 of them making sincere offers and 10 of them making random offers just in case they don't get something else.
That doesn't really seem to be helpful.
It's not. And I think that's going to be a major challenge. Obviously, we'll deal with it as it comes, as the legislation comes along. But I think overall, it keeps the market a little more volatile than it needs to be. I think that's essentially it's going to be the result.
Can you give me one example where government legislation in the housing market has done what it was proposed to do?
That's a really good question.
I'm just out of curiosity. It's not a political comment whatsoever. But the foreign buyers tax didn't do anything. The prices are higher than ever, and there's no foreigners because we had COVID. They couldn't get here. I mean, it's just like these things don't really seem to be well thought out. I don't know.
I completely agree with you. And I think especially since COVID, over the last year and a half or so, we've seen a lot of local families, hardworking families, young families, looking to have a bigger space at home because now they're working from home. They have their babies crying. So they need more space, and that's the majority of the market that we've been kind of dealing with. Once this legislation passes, I think they're going to be a lot more challenged in regards to making a move as efficient as possible.
I would say so too.
They'll be buying, but then when they're selling, they don't know whether that'll go through or not. And
if the government really wanted to help the first-time home buyers, they'd get rid of the property transfer tax.
Oh, totally. I agree.
That's the biggest obstacle for people to own homes.
But everything's about more and more taxes. Everything's about making things more difficult.
Maybe less regulation and more permitting for houses or suites or what have you.
At the end,
condo towers.
To be honest, at the end, I don't think there's anything that the government can do to derail a free market.
Well, they certainly try their best.
They do. They do. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what next year brings. I think, coupled with inflation, coupled with the higher interest rates, they're kind of, they tend to have the opposite effect, but like to each other, including this new legislation. I think the market values are going to creep up even more.
I would agree.
And making it even more difficult for buyers, essentially. It's going to backfire, I think.
You're almost hurting the buyer to a degree. Now that I think about my waiting period for, whoever's in line behind that first offer that goes in is sort of not, they're handcuffed for that, whatever, 3, 5, 7 days that it's going to be. And then they're going to also then lose out on something. Maybe they wanted to go bid on another place. So how do you kind of like time? It seems like a really terribly assembled like chess set of moving parts and pieces that you're not going to get anywhere.
Exactly. And if this trend of low inventory continues, honestly, it's going to make things a lot worse than it is now.
It's already pretty bad.
Supply, though, I still think supply is the key. And that's what people need to focus on.
No matter you have 10 people bidding on a home, whether they do it through this rescission period or cooling off period or not, you still have 9 losers in that bidding war. So how does that help? You maybe have more houses so that everyone can bid on. Maybe there's only 2 bidders. Anyway, I digress.
We'll obviously play by ear, and we'll deal with it as it comes. But overall, I think consumers these days need as much information as possible, which I completely agree with. It needs to be a free market where they are able to buy what they want with a price that they want. And I think additional manipulation is not going to help.
I guess the only positive that I can see with this legislation, which I just thought of right now, would be you got the time to do a home inspection, you've got the time to do an appraisal for the bank. Like, those are helpful things that people should have the ability to do,
of course,
which they don't often now, because if there's subject-free offers, then it is what it is. But aside from that, I mean, the market is pretty efficient. For the most part.
I think buyers have been educated enough in this market to know that if there's a competition, if they need a home inspection, get it done beforehand. And financing, same thing.
And I know you and I work with these situations all the time where it's
I'll give you a call before the
you've got to
offer
do your due diligence much before your offer.
Exactly.
So, fair enough.
So we'll see how it goes. But thank you so much.
Thanks, Alex. Always good to see you.
Happy holidays to everyone, and we'll see you in January.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.